certainly never been up the task. Absolutely spectacular. Better than something in the And we are just here. Etruria is bounded to the north by the Arno River and the south by the Tiber.
Yes.
There are three great cities here, Cerveteri, Tarquinia and Vulci. So we're the middle one.
So Simon, we're here in the medieval city, and the plateau over here has the excavation, the main focus of the excavation.
That's absolutely correct. And it's very important to say plateau because it's a very well-defined space.
We are on the Civita Plateau, where the ancient city of Tarquinia, Etruscan name Tarquina, was. It lasts for more than 10 centuries.
Sorry, what is the structure here, this stone structure that you're excavating?
You can say it's a temple because there's some pottery and some terracottas that let us think that. We have this Villanovan culture, which was related to people that live in villages all around us. But at the end of the Bronze Age, they decided to leave all these villages and create something new in this flat plateau. And this new things was the city. So we have the beginning and the end of the Etruscan civilization only in this place. This was the temple. This is the north corner and the north wall, and this was the bottom of the temple where this huge altar was built. So all the sacrifices, all the blood, all the liquids were spread on the top of the altar and then runs in this biggest channel, and then at the end in the smallest in the natural cavity.
The skeleton was here by the cavity, and it was not preserved in a tomb. We had a paleopathologist working with us who could confirm the nature of an epileptic subject. And epilepsy in the ancient world was called morbus sacer because it was not a pathology, but it was considered a gift, a way of communication with the supernatural world.
We are at the hypogeum, which is a chamber completely excavated into the bedrock. It is 9 meter depth. It has 6 pillars, and it was used for keeping the water. And it is connected with all this area around us, which is used for the management of the rain and of the water.
We've just come down from the plateau above where the main city is located. This is quite an unusual location for tombs. This has probably about 20 or so tombs along this flank of the hillside.
along here.
These are massive.
They collapsed.
But very much reworked and collapsed. Used by animals, I think, or by farmers to house.
I wonder if there was one above another.
Actually, I think you're right. If you crouch down, you can see the original wall at the back is quite intact, whereas a lot of the part at the front has been eroded.
This is all thick woodland now. When these tombs were carved, do we think this was all just bare hillside, or?
I think they would have wanted to display their tombs. Often the Etruscans placed their tombs in the site of the city, but these are below the city, so they're rather out of sight and rather unusual in terms of their placement in the urban context. I think probably they would have, for the purpose of showing off these tombs, have cleared the trees so that people coming up the Marta Valley would have seen these particular individuals and their families.
The resting place of their ancestors.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The tombs of Tarquinia were extremely rich. People locally knew how rich these tombs were. They often visited them to rob them. The term given to the tomb robbers is tomboroli. And they would break in from the side, perhaps dig through the roof, to discover not so much the paintings, because they couldn't remove those usually, but the objects within. In the necropolis of Monterose, there are claimed to be 6,000 to 7,000 tombs. Only about 1% are actually painted, but these are the ones that really bring us into the light of the Etruscan art, because they show how the elite saw their world. And these tombs are betwixt now and the future, that is death. And many of them have doors which show that linkage between this life and the afterworld. In the tombs, you would have, first of all, had the focus on the body. But also, what were preserved for us are the containers in which these unguents and liquids would have been preserved. They wanted to show the people who had just died that they had an afterlife, that they were able to continue to thrive in another world.
We pour a bag of sediment into water and collect everything that floats. This is from the older layers of the excavation, so the time where the settlement kind of develops from a village into a city.
Just name me some of the cereals that you found.
So we do mainly find emmer and barley, fava bean, bitter veg, lentils, peas, grapes, olives, figs, vegetables. I have not found any yet.
We went through a field of tomatoes the other day. They didn't have them, did they, back then?
No, they did not. They came from the Americas. So
They came from America?
That is a quite late addition to the Italian cuisine.
I've been studying hundreds of thousands of bones. At the beginning, the main animal that was consumed and eaten was actually sheep. But then, while we go through the millennium, by the end of the millennium, the actual animal that is mostly consumed is pig. And this is actually something that it's common for Roman sites. Also, I found out is that from the beginning of the millennium through the end of the millennium, the size of cattle it's actually increased quite a lot. This is from the beginning of the millennium, and this is from the end of the millennium. You can see also this is another example of still cattle bones, but you can see how bigger and massive this is compared to this one.
That's fascinating.
And this is not just, you know, male, female. This is an actual improvement of the
Inbreeding,
animals.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And you use your teeth. But, you know, the cost of living these days is so great. It's better to spend a few euros on some tape than...
Especially, I imagine, with the budgets on archaeological.
Yeah, archaeological budgets don't extend to new trousers. Well, here is the end result, and this will last at least one season.
Well, we're here outside Tarquinia doing some field survey on this field which has been ploughed reasonably recently and has been washed by the rain, so therefore a lot of the material we're looking for is going to be much more visible. Oh, they're walking at intervals of 5 paces in a straight line from one edge of the field to the other, picking up objects, pottery, whatever it is you find on the way, and putting them in bags.
So what have you found this morning?
We found, well, some building material here, and then some pottery shards that are multi-period. So this is probably Hellenistic. It's called black glassware. We're not sure about this. It might be also black glassware, but we have to wash it because we don't know. This is another, could be like a stem for a cup, because it has like a little hole in the middle. So this is outside the city walls. So we're basically exploring how and where non-urban people lived.
Yes. Siamo lì.
So this is where everything is stored, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff.
Yes, 40 years of findings.
40 years of finding.
40 years.
Since the 1980s.
82.
Wow.
When I was born, the excavation started. Hai visto che bella, con tutti gli occhioni.
Sì, infatti. Molto bella. Poi a me mi inganna sempre per l'orlo, perché poi io trovo dei pezzi piccoli.
The smallest little vases we found. This one and that one. This is a head of lion, and it is a part of a roof.
So these roofs on the temple were very decorated then.
Yeah, it was very impressive, the decoration. We imagine all the ancient world just like white stones of Roman and Greek period, but the Etruscan was very kitsch. Ah, yes, there. It was found at the monumental complex in the well below the arch.
So the arch that we saw on the dig, beneath there was the well,
Yeah.
and this was dropped into the well.
Yeah, exactly. And it was chosen to be put inside the well in the moment in which the Romans arrived just close to Tarquinia to preserve what was sacred to the goddess of the monumental complex.
So where's the temple?
The temple is just above the farmhouse over there.